So I bought 4 Game Boy games. 2 of them are Game Boy Color, The Lion King, and the Wacky Races, the Pokemon games. They are both from the original Game Boy. All of them don't work except the Pokemon trading card game, which you can see on the following video that I did on the Game Boy Color. All the others, we will be repairing them. So let's now show what each game is doing. So this Wacky Races game just shows this screen with the scrambled Nintendo word, and nothing happens besides this. You can press any button, but nothing happens. So let's reinsert the game just to make sure it's not a bad contact. As you can see, exactly the same. Nothing happens when you use. So we'll pass on to the Pokemon trading card game, and this one we know it works because I have used it on the Game Boy transformation video that you can see above. Pokemon Red. When we turn it on, exactly the same thing as the Wacky Races, Game Boy screen, Nintendo scrambled, and nothing happens. Let's reinsert it, and it is exactly the same thing. Nothing happens. Let's now move on to the Lion King. Turn it on. Game Boy screen and scrambled Nintendo word. So nothing happens as well. Let's just reinsert it as well to make sure that we have a proper connection. And still a little better, but still scrambled in the end. So let's start by opening the Nintendo game. I bought these game bits on AliExpress. If you want to buy them as well, follow the link I have on the description. So let's open it up and separate the shell. To separate the shell, you need to slide the top one to the bottom until it clicks, then you can open it. So we have here the main board for the game. And as you can see on the contacts, one of them is very corroded, so this may most likely be the issue for the game not to work. So let's see what we can do to fix this. So let's start by cleaning the copper contacts with the IPA and a cotton swab to remove as much dirt as possible, and also the corrosion that is still on these pins. So with the microscopic view we can see that there's a lot of corrosion on this specific pin and the ones on the side as well. Here, focusing a little bit better, we can see that it is really corroded. So I would say that probably at some time there was some water or some sort of liquid here that corroded this pin and the one next to it. So what I could come up with was just putting a little bit of solder on this pin to see if we can feel the corrosion area and remove the remains of corrosion from there. Let's see if this will work or not. Let's clean with a bit of IPA to make sure that this area is properly cleaned. As you can see on the reflection, there's a blob of solder on the end of the pins. We need to have that part as plain as possible. So using our iron, I will push these balls up, and with this solder braid I will try to remove the excess solder from this area to make sure that when we put the game on the Game Boy it does a good contact at least on the bottom side where those marks are on the top pins, which is where it needs to be very, very plain. So after doing this, we will even have a little bit of excess solder. We just put it on top. It should be fine. So since we are here, let's just check if we have solid connections between the chips and the board to make sure that there are no pins on these chips that are not soldered correctly on the board, which may cause also the screen that we have when we start the game. Let's check this one as well. One is the ROM, the other one is the processor, so we need to check everything to make sure there are no loose connections. Let's now do a general clean on this board, and always with our cotton swab and some IPA to make sure everything is properly cleaned. Let's also clean the shell to leave it as transparent as possible. And now let's close the shell and test to see if the game starts working or not. And there we go, Game Boy and the Nintendo logo, and we have the Lion King screen. Perfect, so we fixed our first Game Boy game ever. Let's now check the Pokemon Red. I have a bit of curiosity on this game because I've never played the Pokemon game before, and apparently on the Game Boy they are quite addicting. So to open it, it's exactly the same as the other. We just need to push the face of the cartridge to the bottom and it will open. This one has a battery on it, and this battery is its purpose is to save the games and keep it saved. So we need to check if this battery is healthy and the general condition of this board. I can see that the pins are a bit dirty, but first of all let's start by the battery and see if it has enough power to save the games or not. So to check the battery, we need to put our prongs, one on the positive side, the other one on the negative side, and check if we have 3 volts. And we do have 3 volts, so the battery is healthy. So now let's check each of the pins to see if any of them move, and if so, we need to solder it in place. Apparently all the pins are quite solid, so we don't have any issues here. Now we clean the pins that connect to the Game Boy. As you can see, it's removing a lot of grime from them, which also may result on the Nintendo logo not going through. So before we assemble the game, let's also clean the shell. Unfortunately, I forgot to zoom out, so what I'm doing here is what I did on the other one with the cotton swab and the IPA. I just cleaned all the shell. Let's tighten this screw and hope that the game will work. Otherwise we need to undo all this. So let's turn it on. Whoa, the Nintendo symbol is even worse than it was. How come? So let's remove the game and put it back in, and exactly the same. So we need to reopen the game and see what can we do. So let's check all the pins to see if they connect somewhere. If they do, it's not a problem with the pins, but probably something else. And yes, everything is connecting to where it should go. As I don't really know where to go now, I will just reflow all the ships. I'll put a bit of flux on all the legs and go with the hot iron through each and every single pin to make it connect again. With that done, let's clean everything with our isopropyl alcohol and make sure that everything is shiny. E aqui está, temos um Pokémon vermelho a funcionar. Vamos então aqui ao Wacky Races e vamos ver o que é que ele faz. E aparentemente agora está a funcionar. Boa. mas pronto, será melhor abri-lo e dar-lhe uma pequena limpeza para ter a certeza que ele funciona sempre. Vamos então dar-lhe aqui uma limpeza com a escova. Ele tinha ali uns detritos junto à zona onde diz ground. E assim vamos deixar aqui a placa limpa de detritos e depois entramos com o álcool isopropílico. Vamos então colocá-lo na caixinha e testar para ver se está a funcionar como deve ser. Antes disso vamos só dar aqui uma pequena limpeza na caixa. E vamos então testar e ver se conseguimos então jogar este jogo. Não, aparentemente não vai iniciar. Ali o símbolo da Nintendo está todo estranho. Vamos testar mais uma vez para ver se é mau contacto. E continua igual. Vamos então ter que o abrir novamente. Vamos então fazer aqui um reflow dos chips. Vamos passar então com o fluxo e depois então com o ferro quente para ter a certeza que não há nenhuma solda estragada e assim este jogo fica com a sua manutenção feita. Entramos então com o álcool isopropílico para ter a certeza que aqui a borda fica bem limpa e sem resíduos de fluxo. Vamos então testar e ver se já funciona. Já temos o símbolo da Nintendo e o jogo está a entrar. Perfeito. Quer dizer que o jogo está arranjado. Vamos só colocar aqui o parafuso e depois testar o próximo jogo. Este não precisamos de testar, porque já o fizemos, já sabemos que funciona. Vamos só abrir, verificar se a bateria está boa e fazer a manutenção para que ele dure mais uns aninhos. Verificamos então a bateria da mesma forma, colocamos a ponta vermelha no positivo, a preta no negativo e temos 3.11 volts, que é perfeito. Vamos limpar aqui a borda com álcool isopropílico. Aproveitando então que temos a borda aberta, vamos fazer o reflow de todos os chips e deixar este jogo como novo. Vamos então testar este jogo e ver se ele ficou a trabalhar. Temos o símbolo da Nintendo e entra no menu. Portanto, este jogo está a trabalhar. E é isto, espero que tenham gostado de como arranjar e manter os vossos jogos do Game Boy. Se quiserem ver mais um vídeo, carreguem aí na sugestão do YouTube e aqui está 4 jogos todos arranjados. Até à próxima!